What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the show. This is a special episode of Telling Stories with Punk Rock Dad. I've got a very special guest. We've been talking for quite some time, actually. This is KYRA GARDNER, and filmmaker, documentary maker. You know, hello. How are you? Thank you for coming and hanging out today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh man, absolutely. I'm so excited. I just love to talk to anybody that is as interested in this stuff as I am, especially people that have some kind of, behind the scenes knowledge on any subject that I really care about, and horror and punk rock are the two things that I care the most about. So like anybody that's in either of those, worlds, I'm really just tickled to talk to. So like basically the way I found out about you, I think it was either on Instagram or I think it was Instagram. It might have been a YouTube thing or something, but I think it was Instagram where I just ran across that you were making a documentary about your father had made. Explain it to me, please, so I don't mess this up.
My dad makes the Chucky dolls for the Chucky films, but he didn't start the lead of Chucky. But I was 4 at the time, so it's been my entire life almost.
That's what it was. Is that it's like growing up with that in your life. That's what it was. That's what the thing. I was like, whoa, that's cool. And so I just reached out, and then it turns out that you also did a bunch of behind the scenes footage for Studio 666. Am I correct?
Yes, I did. Speaking of punk rock.
That blew my mind. I couldn't believe that. I was like, whoa, what are the odds of that? And then unfortunate passing of Taylor Hawkins. Is it Hawkins or Hawkins? Hawkins, right?
Hawkins.
Yeah. That was my best friend Josh. That's like one of his favorite bands. So like as soon as I heard about that, I got real worried. I was, oh man, this is gonna just ruin his week, man. But so that's really cool. So man, living with Chucky your whole life, that's gotta be intense.
Yeah, definitely.
I have a painting. I should have brought it in here. It's in my kitchen. It's a clown that my uncle painted when I was real little. It's terrifying, and they hung it over my bed. And so, like, now you see all this Terrifier crap behind me. It's because I had this weird phobia of clowns my whole life, and I got over it by watching Terrifier a bunch. And then I've since talked to David Howard Thornton a couple of times on the show, and that's like my favorite movie now. So, like, I can only imagine, like, you probably were scared of that stuff as a little kid. Maybe you weren't if you were around it all the time, but like, as an adult, you're like, oh, I have a way more appreciation for it now. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was definitely scared of it as a kid because I didn't know what it was. I have like no point of reference. Also, my parents they have a funny way of really like not. They think that they explain things when we were kids, but they really did. And if they did, then I was checked out during that conversation.
Right.
You did not explain this to me at all. Because it was like a double-edged sword of keeping it, sheltering the kids from this thing, but inevitably we were going to find it anyhow type of deal. So maybe we all should sat down and had a conversation of like, hi, your dad's in this movie and he's going to get decapitated like 10 minutes into it. Maybe
oh my goodness. Watch. Right. Yeah. Don't watch that one until you're an adult and know that it's fake. Like, yeah, I'm kind of that way with my kiddos, like with bad language stuff. It's hard to like shelter them from it.
Yeah.
So I kind of just don't, except when we're at home. I'm like, hey, you can't say this. And I try not to do it around them. And that's about where it's at, because it's so daggum hard to like not let them hear stuff. Like I was in here the other day and I couldn't explain why I did this, but I had ICP on my phone. Insane Clown Posse. Have you ever heard of them?
Oh, yeah.
So I used to listen to them in high school. And for some reason, I don't know, it came up somewhere. And I was like, oh, this is hilarious. I got to play this. So I was listening to it on my stereo. And my son walks in and he's 9. And I'm like, hey, you got to hear this. And I'm like playing it. And I'm like, maybe you shouldn't hear this. And then he's like, yeah, I liked it, but there's a lot of bad words in there. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna turn this off. But like everything you do and say, it's like you can't get away from it. So, and granted, words are just words. And then unless they're meant to be a, disgusting thing, then it's probably not going to hurt you too bad.
Well, also you can't control other people at the grocery store, things like that. So,
or school. My goodness, schools are crazy now. Like political stuff aside, kids are just insane. Like they're crazy. Like, oh my goodness. It's bad. But so with your film that you just made, this is one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you. You made a documentary based on your growing up around this environment, correct? Is what it's about. Is it so? So what exactly? Because I know you were pretty. You didn't talk about it a lot because I think you had some NDA stuff going on.
I had some crazy legal issues.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more so about, this like love letter to the franchise of everybody getting to talk about their hard work, and some things that people say, you could find in an interview somewhere that they did talk about certain things. So it's kind of like bringing everything together in one film of like, if you didn't grow up watching Chucky and this is your first time watching it, but you're interested, you'll be able to follow along the film and get some insight. If you're a diehard Chucky fan from 1988 and you saw it in theaters, you'll still be able to have new insights that haven't been talked about before. And it's all from the perspective of me growing up with it. So I'm probably was asking some questions that reporters haven't throughout the years, because they're used to being asked the same question over 30 years.
That's what I was hoping, honestly, is that I was going to get some different stuff out of it,
So it's more, it takes more of we do, talk about the films as the films, and then, because you can't talk about the repercussions of the films without talking about them.
Right.
It's more taking the view at a point in the film of the familial aspect of it all, because everybody's worked together for 30 years and like what that actually means and what that actually looked like for people. And basically it's like what the making of this movie was me kind of meeting these people that have become like a second family to my dad when he's not been here. Those movies, especially when I was younger, they filmed it in they filmed Seed in Romania. So like my dad was gone for a very long time, and in Romania, like, so stuff like that of like the impacts.
So okay, when and where is this going to be available at? Did I miss something? Is it already available and I didn't know that? Because if so, I'm going to feel like an idiot.
No, because it's available nowhere right now. So you're not far off. No, that because all of the legal issues I was having, because it's established IP and obviously all those things. I just graduated film school in 2019. I had a year out in LA before the pandemic hit. And the only thing I was working on otherwise was the Foo Fighters movie. So, despite having a parent in the industry, my dad doesn't know the process of selling and distributing a independently produced and made film. So I'm completely learning
on the go.
On the go, as much as, I have the privilege of my dad can steer me into an email of like, hi, my daughter has some questions and this and that. It's so different. No one's going to be like, yeah, let me do this for you. And so throughout the process, I didn't realize that, fair use lawyers exist. And
I didn't know that either. That's amazing.
Yeah. Should have been taught that in film school. But so when the costs of all this licensing, because that was the thing, I had made this as a short in college.
I knew that. I knew you had a short version of it.
Yeah. And so that opened for Cult in all its like film festival premieres before it went direct to DVD, which was fantastic. And so NBC Universal bought it, and it's on the Blu-rays as a bonus feature. And that was a lot easier because Universal owned the finished product and I got to use their clips for free. But this go around, it just hasn't been the same as easy as an avenue. I think when you're a film student, people are more excited to like help you. But then when you're actually in the industry and working, it's like less
weird, huh?
Yeah, it's so weird. So soak it up when you're a student. I like almost was tempted to just go back for one college like community class so that I could still say I was a student.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Gotta think smart.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Yeah. So with all the legal things, it was just a very long process of figuring out I can get a fair use attorney. I can do this. I had some people steer me in the wrong direction, and that's just what happens when you're learning. I know, and that was unfortunately a very long, time-consuming thing of being led down a different path of somebody was advising me not to get a fair use lawyer and this and that, and then COVID messed it up.
That's wild that they would do that. I guess it was because it probably benefited them or somebody they knew, or they were just ignorant to the fact.
I think they were more ignorant than they let on, and also
that's better, I guess, huh?
Yeah, and I think you know, COVID really messed some things up with getting independent like investors and things like that. Like nobody wanted to invest in independent film, and especially documentary is such just like
Mhm.
a weird genre that's lesser known of like what you're going to get back from it, unless it's like
Yeah.
doing Tiger King and everybody's going crazy.
Right, right. That's a huge property at this point.
Your money. Yeah, so it was just like a crazy long process, and there was like a point where I wasn't even going to be able to go to film festivals, this and that. So now I'm at, this is all to say, I'm now at the spot where I figured things out. It's going to film
Okay.
festivals. Yay. I just signed actually like 30 minutes ago with a sales agent, which exists. I didn't know sales agents
Nice.
existed for films. When you
Oh,
say it,
yeah.
it makes sense, but I just didn't know. And it was a whole process of trying to find one, and one that's not going to screw you over, especially as a young woman in film. Like it's just so, you have to be so careful. So I
Yeah, you gotta be real careful with all this stuff. There's a bunch of different things that if you're not real knowledgeable, you could just accidentally mess yourself around and you just know.
exactly. And I had already done it once, so I'm very careful. But so I'm working with them now. Now that the film's gotten into like a lot of the big horror genre film festivals, of trying to find a buyer through that, and
Oh, that's how
I've
that all
found some
works.
loopholes.
Okay. See, I
Yeah,
didn't I
yeah,
didn't know that.
and that's really, yeah, that's honestly the traditional route for independent films is you go to film festivals, and then hopefully you get, you know, hopefully your movie's received well enough and gets into the bigger ones, and then people are
That makes
reviewing it and it gets hype, and then a buyer becomes interested and then it gets distributed. That's like the old school route that you can go, but I was trying to like jump the curb because I Universal was being weird in their licensing, and that I couldn't license for film festivals at a like really low rate. I had to license as if I was going to television.
holy
It's
crap.
like several thousands of dollars. And so I was like, well, if I'm licensing for television through them anyways, then I might as well try to just get it sold. And so I was trying to bypass the
Yeah.
festival thing, and that's what went effabaloo. And then festivals weren't even in person anyhow, or really going on because of COVID. It was
Right.
a whole mess of everything. But now it's the first year it's back open because of my fair use thing. I can kind of bypass that for now, and then a buyer can take care of like the end, when thereby those costs can help towards licensing what we need to.
This is a weird question. I'm a pretty optimistic dude. Is there any way that this could be turn out to be a net positive? Like as just I mean, could it end up being better for you that you got it in the festivals now than before? Because like you said, they weren't in
Yes.
person. It might end up being a better thing, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's how I look at it. Of like, I didn't really lose much of anything because I couldn't have gone in person, and now I get to do a whole film festival like circuit and go to I'm going to
That's gonna be
Florida
awesome.
and then London. So it'll be super. I know it'll be super fun. So I'm like, I didn't really miss out on anything. Just more of, you know, timing of it getting bought. Of like, it'd be so amazing
Yeah,
for it to be coming out this fall
already
with
on
the
this
TV
fall.
show's
Yeah,
second season. But it just takes so long for all that paperwork and everything to get processed. So it probably will be after the fact. So that's the only like bummer. But maybe it'll give people something to look forward to after the season airs.
well, I'm excited to see it, and like it's cool because I'm learning just talking to you for only what 20 minutes or so, and then talking to David Howard Thornton a couple of times. I've learned so much about making movies that are like things that you like you said you just don't really know unless you're either in it or you're fortunate enough to be able to go to a school for it or whatever. And real quick, did I hear you correctly at one point say that the short version was on one of these discs?
It's on that DVD, actually. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, cool. I want to check it out then. I was just I thought, man, I think you said as soon as you said the short one, I was like, that's right. She said it was on. I thought you had said it was on this one, so I turned around to see if I had it because I was pretty sure I did.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
And
Excellent.
that will kind of give you the vibe of what the longer version is.
Well, that's cool. I'm
as
gonna
well.
probably see if I can figure out a way to do a I don't know, something on my channel with it, just to hey, this exists, and put it in
Cool.
conjunction with this. A lot of people, and I'm guilty of this often, don't watch the extras as much as we maybe want to even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's time consuming. So I want to be like, hey, just so y'all know, this is I know y'all have this because I have a small store that sells movies and music, and I've sold at least 3 or 4 of these. So I know that people have them. So It's a good set.
People are less watching stuff on their DVDs.
That there is that. Man, it's kind of cool down here. I'm in Houston, and like well, I'm in a right outside of Houston, but I'm in Houston. My little spot. It's a little bitty place. It's like 15 by 17, little bitty place. But it's my little bitty place, and I got movies and music from wall to wall, ceiling to floor to ceiling, and it's pretty cool because there's probably only, I don't know, the whole city of Houston, maybe a small handful of places that have physical media with movies on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. I have some stuff on CED. I've had stuff on almost all formats. I've had something at one point or another, Laserdisc, all of it. And I have cassette tapes, DVDs, vinyl. It's pretty cool. It's a small place, so I have to like really, mess with things, but it's a lot of fun, and we primarily work with horror stuff there. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it actually kind of came. It's one of those things where a blessing in disguise happened, kind of like having your issue with all this stuff.
Yeah.
I had a shop that was a comic book shop, and it went belly up right at the beginning of COVID. Oh. And I never thought I'd ever have another small place, and this was a nice big place that I'd worked really hard to figure out. And it's just like, oh, nope, that ain't going to work out, I guess. And so, a friend of mine my current place is inside of an antique mall. And my friend called me and said, hey, you should come see my toy store and check it out. I think there's a room available here too if you want. I was like, I'm not trying to do that, man. After I lost my store. And so I go check it out, and I was like, how much does this cost? And he told me, and I was like, what's the lease? He's like, it's month to month. And I was like, what? And so I've been there 2 years and change now. Like it just worked out really well. So, in hindsight, it's way, way better for me and my family. But I told you earlier that I was going to an orientation this morning. It kind of happened out of nowhere. I got a part-time job at Alamo Draft House to try to supplement things.
Oh, very fun.
Yeah, I thought that if anywhere, that would be kind of a cool place to work. It's what I like to do anyway. So I went this morning and talked to the manager and just did the paperwork stuff, all the stuff that you don't like to do. But,
yeah, I feel that.
Got that stuff knocked out, and start up there. It's just a part-time thing, but bartending and stuff, hanging out. And
that's fun.
Should be fun. All my friends, we go up there all the time anyway, so I may as well work there, right? Get a little money.
Yeah.
Make a little money. I'm trying to get this close. You used to work where?
Oh, sorry. I was going to say I did a similar thing. I used to work at Cinespia, which is like an outdoor movie theater in the Hollywood
outdoor movie theater.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. It's in the cemetery, and so you're like you're not sitting on a grave or anything, but there's
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it was same situation where I was like, I get to watch movies and make money. Right?
I want to go watch like Return of the Living Dead like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh man. Cool. That'd be so cool. Yeah, I go up there so much that I got a thing called a season pass where I could go every day. It's like a monthly fee. Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's the actual like the reason why I wanted the job is so I can save some money because I'm this close to getting a studio space for the channel.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's a big step, so I'm really nervous. So I'm trying to save as much money as I possibly can. The way, then you kind of bump in the road, it's covered, But we'll see what happens. But so this was really great. How long did you have to work on this project? Did it take you? I mean, it feels like it could have taken a lifetime, but it also feels like it could have been compiled in the matter of 6 months or something, and then edited together. Or did this take a long, long, long time?
This took me a very long time. I
had a feeling. Yeah, you can tell the way you talk about it.
Yeah. Well, because it did start as that short.
Yeah.
In college, so that was like the start, and then after I had kind of gone around with that, a lot of people seemed to really enjoy the different perspective of it, and I didn't realize, it's not a typical making of Chucky,
right?
Where you have it with, the Freddy documentary and Jason and things like that. And people are like, we did this thing on the movie and it was crazy. It's like, no, we're going to talk about the family side of it and the effects of things on.
This is coming from a very different perspective, as far as I can tell.
Thank you. Yeah. So everybody seemed to like that. And then the only really not good critique I got was that it was so short. And so I was like, I agree. My film school just had a running time. It'd be insane to make a feature while you're in college. I was 19 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's wild.
Yeah. It'd be insane. So I was still working on it while finishing college.
Okay.
I was like collecting interviews when I could, where I could. And then I graduated, and some people. I moved back here. I went to FSU, so I lived in Tallahassee.
Okay.
So like Alex Vincent lives in Florida, so I road tripped out to him for a weekend and shot an interview while I was still trying to make
amazing.
other films. And then I knew.
Oh, you're okay. Everybody I watch a lot of YouTube stuff. They're all dealing with this stuff. COVID is everywhere right now.
I had COVID a month ago. So then I came back here, and Billy Boyd and Christina Lease live out here. So I was just collecting the rest of interviews, and then I got a small investment to kind of go get, guests to speak, like Lynn Shay, John Waters, Marlon Wayans, Abigail Breslin.
So badass.
Outside. And it was just like trying, and that's the privilege I have, right? It's people I've met through my dad that I can be like, hi. Well, also Abby's just a good friend of mine now. So it was just like, hey, will you do this thing for me? I have like barely any money to pay you.
We all have to do that. And I'm at the bottom of the barrel. I'm reaching out to people I don't even know. Like, hey, talk to me for 10 minutes. Like,
woo!
Yeah, it's a lot of,
it's just like
throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks,
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Really?
And, yeah. So it was basically that. So that's why it's taken so long. Is just like it was years of figuring it out, and then it wasn't like I, had an idea for a movie, and then I was like, let me do it the norm go to make a movie and get the funding and then go shoot and plan it out. It was just like I already had so much footage, and documentary filmmaking isn't insanely intricate in terms of like if you have a camera and you have some lights, go fucking shoot it.
That's exactly how I operate too.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm just gonna go do it. And so I had my cinematographer. He also moved out to LA, and then I met another cinematographer who worked with me through the rest of it. And so it was just like, okay, I shot it for like no money essentially, besides that small investment to go travel. Like John Waters still in Maryland and stuff like that. But other than that, it was just like I just did it, and then I learned editing in film school, and I was like, I can't ask somebody to edit this insane like 14 terabytes of footage thing for
That's
no money.
A lot. Wow, 14 terabytes.
It's insane. So I was like,
I really almost corrected you and said you mean gigabytes.
No, oh my god, that'd be so short. That's the whole movie. It's 14 gigabytes.
Yeah, I guess it is. Oh yeah, man, 14 terabytes. That just blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah, it's way, and that blew my mind until I shot the Foo Fighters shit, which is like all 16 terabytes of footage. But so it was just like it was my baby at that point, and I was like, I'm just gonna, try to edit a feature for the first time, and then I did, and it wasn't totally awful. And then we got a ghost editor. I say ghost, but he's credited. We got an editor.
I didn't know what you meant by that. I was like, all right, ghost editor. You mean somebody like besides yourself helping with it?
Yeah. So basically, I got to the point of the film was like before I got the guest stars in it as a good rough cut of the structure, and then we had an editor come on and kind of work with me through it all and polish it up at the end.
Clean things up, yeah.
So it's just like the process. Yeah, so the process really was like indie. Like I just had all this shit and I edited it in my bedroom over COVID. Like, so that's why it's taken so long, because I didn't have a team because I'm an idiot. And I was just like, let me go make this thing, but let me just do it all I'm insane, and that's so dumb. So if you look at the credits, it's like produced by, directed by, edited by, and it's not an ego thing. It's just I didn't plan to make it.
We have an enormous amount in common. Like I do the same shit. Like I have so I am tech stupid. Like I don't do tech stuff. Like I don't like any of it. If I didn't have to do it with a camera and a computer, I wouldn't. I would do it a different way, but I do. So I do everything. I edit it all. I upload it all. I make my own thumbnails. And then people are like, oh, that's not that bad. I'm like, yeah, but I drop like 16 videos a week. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, wait, how do you have time? I'm like, this is my job. It's my full-time job at this point. This is why I got a part-time job. I can't afford a full-time. I don't have the time for it. And so if I had the money, the first thing I would do is get somebody to help me with editing. And that's my like long-term goals is like, little small studio spot, editor. And then
So
after that, I'm good. Like I can do everything else we can figure out. Like, ooh, buddy, I can't wait. I'm just
exactly.
like, oh,
If you have a
please.
good editor, you're golden. Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing. It's like I also like I graduated out of film school. It's like I don't know a feature film editor yet. I don't even know where I'm living from coming back from college.
Right. For real, I didn't even consider that.
So I just like that's why it's taken so long because it's like I didn't have a producer come on who knew everything and how to sell stuff because the movie had kind of already been produced. And then I didn't realize because of how film school it's so short form and you don't really have to deal with the back end of things. I didn't realize how much you're still producing after the movie's actually done and cut. It's like I'm dealing with all the PR and film festival stuff. Now I won't have to deal with it as much intricately because I have a sales agent now. And part of their deal
that's going to help you a lot, probably.
Yeah. So it's just like I would have brought on a sales agent earlier. So this whole process, this is a long story to answer your question, has been several years in the making of just, and same thing. It's like I can't solely I still have a job, two like part-time jobs. I still freelance. Like I have to make my rent and I'm basically paying to make this movie myself, So it's just like I still had other jobs that I had to do in the meantime.
Well, so like there's definitely like a tier list, like a totem pole, right, in this whole industry. And I'll call it an industry, even including myself, even though I'm like a YouTube guy. But like hearing you talk about what you're having to do, while I just look at what you're doing as much, much, much bigger than anything I've ever attempted, right? And so the fact that you're able to say like, yeah, I'm still working at a part-time gig here, doing this part-time, handing out some hours over here for a freelance job, this and that. It gives people that are way down here in my level, like some kind of like, oh, it's not abnormal to be doing. Because I was trying to tell this kid the other day, no, man, I work like 50 hours a week on YouTube and I make almost nothing doing it. And then I have a store on the weekends and now I have a part-time gig over here and I've got 3 kids and I'm married, man. I don't get time to just chill. Yeah. And because he was telling me like, oh, I'm gonna start doing YouTube and then make a career out of it. And I was like, I mean, that's ambitious. I was like, I said, look, man, I'm like I said, I'm a pretty positive guy. Like, good luck for you, man. Let me know if you need some help. I'll help you with whatever I can. I said, but just so you know, I've been doing this for 3 years plus, and I've got only 23,000 subscribers, man. And I said, that's a lot of work. And I said, and other people can go faster and slower. This is just my journey. But I said, and I said, I said, it took me 2 years to get a camera. That it was like a real camera, like a nice DSLR camera. I had some stuff that I was using before. It was serviceable, but like, I'm right now in the midst of buying a new computer because mine maxes out on what I'm trying to, and I can't, I said, dude, if you think you're just going to jump on here and make a career out of it, if you do, awesome. I'm happy for you. I said, but be prepared for some gigantic speed bumps. And he was just like, I don't really get it. Like I said, you just started watching my channel 3 months ago. You saw me from this point to this point. But you didn't see me when I was way down here getting 20 views, 10 views, like, and just hoping I got my video didn't get blocked. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
And I didn't understand, and to speak on that, like, I didn't understand the social media, like, more aspect of workload until I started TikTok over COVID. And, like, I have a decent following on there. And, which I'm so thankful to have and being an indie filmmaker, but it is also so much work because it's like I do have my regular jobs and this and that, and then it's like, oh, I need to put out something so that because you have to keep putting out.
You remember it,
and you have to build your like empire, so to speak, and that takes time. And sometimes, like if you do something more intricate, you need a camera to do whatever, and it's just like. I didn't realize how much of an actual job content creation really freaking is. And it's like, you have to invest in yourself.
Because I'm glad that you understand that. It makes me feel a little better because I am exhausted all the time. Like, this is going to sound absolutely insane, but I also, like, when I told you earlier, I do art stuff. I'm not kidding. Like, I paint, like, almost daily. Like, so, like, when I told you, give me 10 minutes, I was finishing up something that if I didn't do it then and there, I wasn't going to do it. I just painted this like little fridge magnet, and it's for a musician called Juice WRLD, and then I got a bigger one that I'm working on now, and like
very cool.
Yeah, and this is like small time stuff. I got big pieces. I work on like all kinds of stuff from little tiny things to big stuff, and like, but I have to film it all. Then I got to edit. So everything I do is getting filmed. Everything. I understand it. I get
and
it.
you have
It's
to
like,
go back and edit the thing that you just
man. And then you forget to edit this one tiny piece, and then it messes up everything else. You have to go back and restart over, and then, or oh, I messed up the audio, or I didn't turn my mic on, and now I have a 48-minute video that's got no audio. Awesome.
Awesome. Cool.
I've done that a bunch of times.
It's like so much work, and just to get, but and that's the scary part about social media. And I mean, maybe the film industry as well, but it's just like, regardless, you can still submit to film festivals and it gets in or it doesn't get in. But it's like with social media, it's like you either start gaining people or losing people,
or losing them. There's never a
like
stagnant. It's never. Yeah, it's never.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't. Stagnation doesn't happen with that. It's either doing this or this.
Exactly.
So
it's stressful.
If people are ruthless online, and it's on one hand you're like, ha ha ha, they're just a bunch of jerks, and it's kind of funny to be honest. But like, if you're dealing with it every day and you're putting a bunch of your time and your heart and soul into something, and these people that don't even know you, have no idea who you are, they're like, they don't even attack your work. They're like, man, you're an ugly piece of shit. Like, I've been told that. I'm like, what did I do to you? Like, I mean, I don't really care like what you think about me, but like, damn, bro, I was having a pretty good day. Thanks for ruining that. Like,
yeah, it's like, you shouldn't let it get to you because you don't even know this person, but it's just like so
it's
sad.
Impossible not to. It's impossible not to.
It's a sad fact of like somebody would take 5 seconds out of their day to just be hateful for what? Like, I just can't wrap my head around that.
You know what it is? It's because they're walking by and they're typing it. Because I've done it. I'm not gonna lie. I've done it too. I've said mean shit to people. Like, I'm not perfect. I try. I'm 40 now, so I'm not the same guy as I used to be. But like when I was younger, I'd be like, man, something not a whatever nonsense, But like, it's because they're like, because even when I said things to people, it was also not over a phone. It was in person or something. I don't know, man. This whole social media thing is insane. But they type it and then they go, ha ha ha. It's going to be funny when they read this, because in all reality, if you can take yourself out of the situation and go, one person said this and one person reacted this way, you might chuckle because it might be funny. But they don't take into account that you're an actual person and not just a, And so it may be funny, but it also at the same time is probably going to be really hurtful. So you're like, that's hilarious. And then you're like, oh man, what the hell? Like, what if you had a really bad morning? And then they say that, and you're just like, that could really send you in a spiral.
Yeah, you have no idea what day somebody's having prior.
People have, like, especially in 2022, and every single person on the planet has some kind of chemical imbalance. Like, look, I'm not trying to discount that, but like, not every kid has ADD, guys. Like, calm down. Like, sometimes they're just 6, and they just have a lot of energy. Sometimes they can't pay attention because they're 9 years old. Like, but like, what if you, I've got friends that have dealt with, it's wild. Social media is the Wild West right now. And I don't at all want there to be any kind of, what's it called? When people censorship, I'm not for that. Like, if you want to say something, look, I'm thick-skinned enough to where if you want to say something, it may hurt my feelings for 5 minutes, but I'm a grown man. It is what it is, man. Whatever, kid. You don't even know me, man. The fact of the remains, if you were standing right in front of me, you certainly wouldn't say that.
Yeah, that's
so.
I don't.
So whatever. But like,
is crazy.
Where's that line drawn though? Like, where do I start to accept something like censorship? Because I think, okay, I don't know that I would ever. I think I would just have to take it on the chin, man. Censorship's scary. Like, it's the same thing with it's going to get political, but you know how it goes. That stuff's scary. You don't want to give up your rights for anything. We already have a lot of stuff getting shoved down our throat from all angles, from any kind of person, from any kind of whatever their agenda is. Doesn't matter what umbrella it's under, whatever agenda it is. I already have enough of that. I don't need to be told that now I have to, like, ooh, it's stuff's wild. So you either have to go that direction or be able to deal with it. I don't know. I'm ranting about social media now. My goodness. Social media stresses me out, but it's useful,
No, it's useful. It's a double-edged sword sometimes.
Yes, that's the best way to put it. Double-edged sword is absolutely correct. So it took you a long time to make this. So I guess it was the interest in the short film that really inspired you to create the longer version, huh?
Yeah, to see how many people reacted to it. And I mean, it was interesting. I was not interested. It's so funny. In film school, my program is one of the few that teaches documentary. I don't know if they still are since I've graduated. They talked about shifting the program, but and I hated documentaries. I hated them. Really? Yeah, and now it's my whole world. So it's
that's hilarious.
So funny.
That's the universe going.
Yeah, it was like karma. Here you go. But we watched a documentary called Stories We Tell. And
Okay.
I think it might have gone to like Sundance or something. It won some stuff.
Nice.
But it totally transformed my view of how you can do documentary filmmaking, because it was the
Okay.
first time I had seen participatory filmmaking where the person making the film was also involved.
Okay. Okay.
Knew who they were and things. And so it was kind of watching that and then doing the short of like, oh, maybe I could see this as a feature and it's longer and maybe I should try. And then the thing is, if you want to direct or like whatever, when you get out of school or you just go into it, you're going to have to write because nobody's handing you a directing job. You're going to have to do independent stuff. And so I was like, well, I already have this movie that I've shot basically half of it. I feel like that it'd be a smart move for me to do this. And then that's actually how I ended up getting the Foo Fighters job, was because I had
Oh, cool. I was going to ask you how you accomplished that, because I honestly, I think like I kind of like your game plan. Like it may not be the typical game plan, but like I said a minute ago, we have a lot in common. I was saying that in jest, but I was serious with it. All this stuff. My buddy has told me, my buddy Josh, he's like a really close friend of mine. He said, you know, I stopped doubting you a long time ago because you'll just say you're going to do something and somehow you manage to get it done. And he's like, I don't understand how you've done any of the stuff that you've done. And it's like, I have to understand his point of view. I've done some insane things. Like, you know, I'm gonna go open a comic book shop. He's like, yo, what? Why? I just want to. That's what I want to do. I don't want to. You know, then COVID happens and you're like, oh, I don't have that anymore. What am I going to do? I'm going to start a YouTube channel and really put some work into it. I don't know if it'll work out, but I believe I'll get to 10,000. I actually had goals that were like, you know, 1,000 and 10,000. So I've surpassed every goal that I've put in place by twofold plus. And so, you know, 25,000 is like right around the corner. And that blows my mind. Like, it's hard to retain that. I've lost probably 5,000 if you want to add it all up over the course of a couple of years, because people become uninterested at the drop of a dime and they just don't care. And nothing you can do about it. You can't take it personally because they're not trying to hurt your feelings necessarily. They're just going, I don't really care about the subject anymore. And then, you know, haven't you done that? So it's like, of course you have to accept that. And so really, I feel like I've done pretty well so far. And this is just if this is my floor, where's the ceiling? I think it's way up there. You know, I think I potentially have 100 to 250,000 in my future. And I really believe that. And so who knows? There's no telling. You know, I mean.
No, that's the thing too. It's just like, same thing of like, okay, well, I've done my first feature, but it's documentary. So the next goal then is first narrative feature.
Right.
And you just you go from there.
That's awesome.
I love that. I love setting goals. I just, same as you probably feel, where I'm just like, why did I was going to do that? This is hard. And that's the thing. And that's why you see not everybody doing it, because it's going to kick your ass so hard. And you have to like get you at the end of the day with all the tools, like, yes, therapy and friends and like, you know, doing stuff for your mental health, you know, going outside and playing sports or
exercising at some point, eating a little bit better, stuff like that matters.
Yes,
and it
everything you can use to help you.
More success.
Yes, as tools. But at the end of the day, it's only going to be yourself that's going to keep you doing this thing that's sometimes going to drag you really far down.
Well, the tool doesn't do anything without elbow grease. So like if you're not willing to put that work in, the tool ain't gonna help you. So you know, I would consider myself at this point more of an entrepreneur than maybe a content creator right now, because I do so many things, because you know, I've been able to create income at the drop of a dime in the situation where it was necessary. Like I said, I'm from Houston, so when Hurricane Harvey happened, we lost our house. We didn't know what we were going to do. Like we had no idea. We just took, I mean, it is what it is. Like, and you know, hundreds of thousands of people dealt with that. We kind of just took it day by day, but like somehow we're here. Somehow we're okay. Yeah. Okay. Then I think if I can go through that, I can go through about anything. So, you know, as long as my wife's here, then I'm good. Yeah. And so, you know, I just got to be real polite to her and not piss her off so she doesn't go anywhere. And because that's my backbone. That's not my backbone. That's the, you know, she helps lift me up.
Raise each other up.
Yeah, she's the support system. But you know, that's pretty amazing that you were able to accomplish all this kind of like I don't want to say on a whim, because I don't feel like that's the right word, but like it feels kind of
just like going for it.
Yeah, you just decided you were going to do it, and you're like, well, I got the faith that I can accomplish this. Boom. Because self-belief
Here we
is
are, 5
honestly,
years later.
well, self-belief is something that not a lot of people have.
I know. Well, I also have imposter syndrome like every other day where I'm like, what the fuck?
Let's go. Oh, no.
it.
I always think I'm somebody I'm not. I'm like, no, I can do this. What makes you think you can? I don't know. I just feel like I could probably knock it out, man. Let's go try. And then like 2 days later, I'm like, man, I probably should have maybe waited on some help or something. You know?
I should have thought it through a little bit more before I jumped into it.
Yeah.
But here we are, so we can't get out.
Like, aren't you an expert in this? I should have asked your advice. Like they're like, yeah, you could have. I was right here. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, but so because I had the thing was I since I was like 15, I've shot behind the scenes like photography or videography for my dad
That's so awesome.
because I at some point was really into photography and thought I might be interested in being a photographer.
Sure.
I was obsessed with like
it's not that far apart from what you're doing right now.
Yeah, honestly, because I was obsessed with the Travel Channel as a kid, and I was like, I want to go be paid to travel. And
my buddy Josh wanted to do that. My other friend, I have 2 Josh. My other big Josh wanted to do that. He wanted to he was real close to doing it. And I was like, bro, that's sketchy. Like he was talking about selling, like he has a real nice comic and art collection. He's like, I'm just gonna sell my shit and just. I was like, word. I was like, yo, I might go with you like New York, but I'm staying in the States, bro. Like I don't have the money. And I was like, I'll go ride around with you and film stuff, man. Let's go. I offered to give him a bunch of GoPros. Like, here, take my cameras with you and just bring them back. And, dude, he was like, I think he kind of like pumped the brakes a little bit. Like, let me start with like Texas traveling. This is a big place. You can drive for 12 hours and still be in like you 6.5 hour drive. You might just be in Dallas still. And you know, that's
I've driven through Texas twice. It's awful.
Oh, how much that suck. I don't envy that. There's a reason why I've never left the state. I'm just like, man, it's too much driving, bro. And I'm scared of flying. So I'm a big weenie. I'm scared of fly. I'm so scared to fly. It's just fear. The idea of being my wife's flown. My mother-in-law just got back from Australia. Like everybody I know flies. I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like I can't even get on a ladder without being scared. Like I can watch any movie in the world. Okay, I can do, but ladders scare me. Snakes and spiders scare me. Like that stuff rocks my world. Like other than that, I'm good. But like flying, that's so high. Like what?
I know.
In reality, it's so much safer than a car.
Yeah, I know.
I'm an idiot.
I just recently saw this video on TikTok where I think it was a flight attendant or someone was explaining turbulence, and it was kind of like I think they had put like a stapler or something in Jello, and like explained turbulence that way. And I was like, oh, this is a lot safer than I realized it actually is, because I get scared anytime there's turbulence on a plane. I'm like, we're gonna die at Final Destination.
Of turbulence. You said turbulence, and I was like, oh no. I'll get over it. If I have the opportunity to go travel somewhere, I would really like to go see like the Grand Canyon at least once, and then I would like to get out of the country at least once. To do something. My mother-in-law is moving to Australia, and my sister-in-law lives there already. So I assume at some point I'm gonna go to. And it's a long flight. It's like a 24 hour flight, some nonsense.
Time for a whole day,
Yeah, like what are we doing here, man? Like no. But I'm like, how can I stream on a flight that's 24 hours? Like that's a stupid question. Take a day off. Like, oh yeah. Do you get that way too? Whenever you're forced with like a day off, you're like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna get behind on things, and then like, I gotta catch up.
Yeah, I can't really ever have time off because I just sit there feeling guilty that I'm not doing anything. I'm learning boundaries for myself. I'm working on that with my therapist. So like, you don't have to do something all the time. Yeah, that's how I felt yesterday. I was like, I have to do this thing for my movie. And I'm like, it's Sunday, calm down, have a day, watch your shows that you want to watch. Yeah.
What do you watch?
Well, I'm actually rewatching Supernatural right now.
Ooh, that's weird because I've been like on the cusp of trying to figure out if I wanted to do a daily short video covering an episode of Supernatural starting at season 1, episode 1.
And going all the way through.
All the 15. Is 15?
It's just I think it's 15th season.
Yeah. My wife's that's her boyfriend, so I figured that'd be an easy watch with her. You know.
Yeah. Garrett or Jensen?
The shorter one.
Yeah. Okay.
He's a handsome fella, man. He's a cool dude. They're all in Texas too.
I seem to be the one in the like show that's more obsessed with Sam than Dean, which is so funny because all the girls go gaga for the
Yeah.
Jensen. So it's so funny.
That is Jensen, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
I'm like,
Supernatural's like, it's one of those it's one of those shows that like when I was first introduced to it, my friend Lee showed it to me. He's like, you gotta check this out, man. You like horror stuff. And I watched it like a couple of them and I was like, man, this is whack, dude. And then like you know what it was that got me into it was their dad. When he showed up in the show, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I like him. And so then I started watching it, and then I realized that no, I was just being snobby about it. It was really what it was. You want to be honest, I was being a horror snob. And I was like,
yeah, it's kind of like what it used to be like the old CW. And like think of CW's shows today, it's CW.
I'll be honest, I don't watch any TV anymore. Like rarely do I watch movies, you know?
It's like CW, I think, has gotten like very, and they've always had this level of a bit of cheesiness to them, and that's fine. And so, but I think their cheesiness is so like, they're so self-aware of their stuff.
It's like
just
camp.
It's camp, but it's and
like,
so it takes you a second to get into it because the guys kind of have like a gruff voice and we're going to go do this thing. And like, why are they doing that? But then once you get into it and kind of get the feel of like,
it gets really dark. It gets like really dark,
and it's great. And there's so many cool things, mythologies. I used to be obsessed with it in middle school, but my sister is living with me this summer, and so she was watching it, and then I sat down and I got way too invested again. So we had to start at the beginning.
I was like a full-on adult when that show came out. I'm so old. It gets really dark, and it's like. They also do it because if you're not paying attention to it, you'll never catch it. But they do a lot of really cool stuff with the episodes. Like they got like themed episodes that are like really kind of neat. They got some cool shit going on in there.
Yeah,
and the music's pretty good too. The music's pretty solid.
Yeah, and like even
I'm gonna go watch this damn show again.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you should. And even the VFX, even though it's like 2009, it actually holds up pretty decently.
Yeah. I don't recall ever thinking it was that bad. Even last couple of years catching an episode here or there, I don't recall thinking it looked too bad.
No, there's
so
often a moment because it's just a crazy episode where you're like, that's where the budget lacked.
Right? But, yeah. I think you can pick that out on anything though.
Exactly.
Especially like when something is going to be reliant on CG to any degree at all. There's going to be those points where you're like, even with Marvel stuff, they have how much of a budget, and you go. That looks bad. I saw Black Widow recently, and there was like 3 or 4 things in that where I was like, how many millions of dollars do y'all need to make this look real? Like, just write it without the stupid shit that doesn't look real. Like, why do you have to have...
Yeah, then write about it. Yeah, I'm such a big...
But whatever, kids love that stuff, so what am I talking about? What do I know? Marvel's clearly more successful than I'll ever be. Like, that's... who am I to judge Marvel, But, that's awesome. What kind of movies in the horror genre are you the most fond of? Do you have a franchise that you really like that's outside of the Child's Play stuff, or do you watch? Do you have any 80s stuff? 80s is my favorite era of horror stuff. Is there any 80s stuff you really dig?
I'm a big Carpenter fan.
Nice.
Which was super cool because he has a cameo in Studio 666. So
yes,
it was so cool to meet him. Be like,
I didn't even consider that you got to meet him. That's badass. Yeah. Oh, I'm so jealous of that. That's awesome. I like his you know what? He's actually probably the best part of Halloween Kills because he did the soundtrack to it. And in the movie, my guy was like, yo, the soundtrack is the best part of this. And I was like, for sure. Yeah. So like man, that's a legendary person to meet right there.
Yeah, I was like, my heart dropped into my butt and I was like, because I had to like interview him. Which is so funny because John doesn't really talk. He was like not that talkative, which was so funny because I'm like, here you are as this director, and I'm like this director of the behind the scenes. So like I need interviews, and I was like, so how did it come about that you're here on this project today? And he goes, just somebody called me, and I got in a car, and now I'm here.
That sounds like something he would say too.
That's
amazing.
Come on, John, give me like 2 sentences more.
Public transport. I took the bus. That's how I got. What do you mean? How did I get here?
And I'm like, you know Dave prior? And he's like, no, I didn't know Dave at all. I'm like, okay.
Wait, really?
No, they didn't know each other.
That's amazing.
It's crazy.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I've been a part of a lot of subcultures of people between like punk rock and like horror movies and metal kind of crosses over and all that stuff. So, and art world and comic books. I've been a part of all this stuff, right? And I've started recently understanding and really being aware of the fact that the horror community is just built different. It's like,
Yeah.
how many directors of anything that weren't in this community could I have reached out to and been like, hey, would you have any time to talk? Where not only did you wait, you said, hey, I'll talk to you, but it's going to have to be when I can do this. Do you mind waiting? They'd have been like, no.
Yeah.
And this community, I mean, like I said with David Howard Thornton that did Terrifier, he's plays Art the Clown. He had no reason to talk to me, yet he did. And I got to talk to, do you know who Josh Rubin is? He did Scare Me and he did Werewolves Within.
Yes, I was just talking about Josh Rubin yesterday. I don't know why.
He's done my show twice. That guy's awesome. Like,
great.
Like for what reason other than he's just a nice dude? I don't know any other genre where it's like this.
Aware that it's the fans that really drive this freaking genre and the franchises, and so it's like giving back to the people who are allowing you to do what you want to be doing is so cool. I'm nowhere near that fucking status at all yet, but
I'm below you. I'm on a much smaller scale, but I do the same thing on my YouTube channel. I do a lot of like drug rehabilitation because I have a very wild past, and so I am 9 years and 2 weeks off of the stuff I was a part of. And so, oh, thank you. Yeah, you know, my kiddo, I had my son. If you look at his birthday and then look when I got clean, it was about 2 months. It took me a little while, but I got there. But you know, I do a lot of that on my channel. I just talk to kids and go, you know, I was talking to one this morning and he went, hey man, you good, bro? You sound like you're having a rough time. And I don't know him. I just know his screen name, but I know he watches my channel because that's how he got in touch with me was I put my information in my description. And so he reached out, you know, and I just talked to him. So I think I get that from the horror community because I feel like, man, what kind of person would I be if I take advantage of that with people that I look up to and then I snuff this kid because what?
Yeah.
No. So, and if he creates a channel one day, he'll talk to the people watching his videos, hopefully. And so it just creates a you know, it's a spider web community of people that, you know, 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon type of thing. You know, this guy that knows this guy that knows that guy. And we all kind of, I've met so many cool people in the horror community that I just never really thought I would meet. You know, it's different with music too. They're behind a barricade, then they're behind a stage, and then you can't go back there unless you pay this gargantuan sum of money. And even then you get a 2-second hello and a photograph, and that's that.
And that's kind of the same of other genres. You know, you like go to the premiere of an amazing drama film that you're into, and sure, they're doing a Q&A, but it's not really like you get to a second to see and talk to the directors of those genres. Right. Whereas like a lot of people go to the horror conventions, you see people there. It's just like this nice, amazing community. I love it.
I talked to some people, some actors, and I won't say names because I don't know if there's something that they would want me to say necessarily about them, but it's not bad. I thought it was quite good, actually, that I've talked to a few actors and actresses where they said, like, yeah, man, I haven't made a movie in a couple of years. I'm just going on the circuit, doing all the shows, and I'm just hanging out with fans, and that's how I make my living. So, like,
yeah.
And I think that's so badass because you're not going to see somebody like, now this is an extreme example, but like Tom Cruise ain't out there talking to people like that. And the people that are what made him, like, the people buying the tickets made him who he is. So take no doubt that the same exact thing's happening on a larger scale, but he's not, and not that he should necessarily. He's such a famous person that would be kind of insane. But like, you know, you don't see it with even people like at all. And I don't necessarily expect it, and I don't necessarily think them bad for not doing it. I just really appreciate that I'm part of a group that does do it. You know?
Yeah. I agree. But
to
answer your question, I really like Carpenter stuff. I'm a fan. I just watched The Fog a few years ago for the first time, and I love that film. I love
that in a while. I need to rewatch that.
It's good, and they have some good on the DVD. The behind the scenes little featurettes are really cool of how they did so much of it practical, and like their screen test for it wasn't scary enough, so they had to go back and add the stuff, and then it was like too scary, I think was the thing.
Oh, those are good stories.
Yeah, it's such an interesting, that's what I care about more. Like that's why I love some horror movies more than others, because the backstory of how it freaking happens. But I like my generation when I was growing up, like it was like The Grudge and The Ring and
the remakes or the originals? Remakes,
not
right?
The US versions.
The US versions.
and that was what terrified me as a kid, because that's what I had seen earlier on, was like The Ring. I was like, oh my God, that girl is so scary. 7
Yeah, if I was
Days
younger when I saw that, I would have scared the crap out of me for sure.
Yeah. So those were like more stuff that stuck with me that I saw as a kid. I do like Nightmare on Elm Street, and
Hell yeah, that's my first love, was Nightmare on Elm Street.
and then when I was in maybe I was in high school at the time. I don't know what the year was, which is so bad because I should know it, because I just interviewed Lynn not that long ago. But Insidious,
Lynn Shay, right?
Yeah, I love her. She's a sweet baby angel.
She's like a legend that doesn't get near enough credit.
No, because and if you know her, you love her. In whatever.
She's in everything, literally. Like, she's in every movie. Like, she's in all of them.
And it's just like, and she's fucking killing it as this older. She's been in film for a very long time, but just killing it in horror.
Wasn't she in Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah. She was
the teacher,
but she
right?
had such a small role in it.
But like that's crazy though. She's in that movie, and she's a teacher, and now she's in stuff that we're still currently watching, like right now.
Queen. She's a scream queen. Yeah. Awesome. So Insidious, before I even knew Lynn Shay, or I didn't even know that my dad knew Lynn, because they had done There's Something About Mary.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I knew her, but I didn't know. I loved Insidious when it came out at the time. I think I was in middle school or high school, and I was like, this is such a good. I think the demon looking thing that looks like Darth Maul isn't the, best thing ever. But, the tiptoe through the tulips scene is like iconic. And also the demon face behind Patrick Wilson in their conversation that they're having, that infamous like jump scare. I was just like, it terrified me.
From Insidious, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was like, man, did I miss something? No. I knew what you were talking about. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was like, what did I miss? No, I got it. So, man, I haven't watched James Wan in a while either. James Wan, man.
Yeah.
Oh God, how did you? This is where we're going to disagree. Probably. Did you like *Malignant*?
I actually haven't seen it yet, so I am no.
Well, then maybe I'll talk to you about it one of these days when you see it.
Yeah, I don't think
I would actually love to hear your opinion on it, because it's yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything more recent of his from like that 5-year period of when Insidious.
Gotcha.
I forgot what he did after that. I know like The Conjuring.
Well, I mean, when he did Saw, he changed the entire genre.
And Saw is fucking amazing. I'm not really. I don't give a shit about a lot of the sequels.
No, I was talking specifically about the first one. That movie.
Yeah,
is bananas.
I think James Wan is such an inspiration, so to speak, of doing horror on a low budget and doing it well. Of just like Saw, basically all one freaking location, like minimal cast, on a set, like. So good, no money. And then Insidious, it was a bit bigger of a budget, but for the majority of the movie, it's all within this house.
Correct. Yeah. No, he does. I think he's one of the kind of guys that benefits from having to use his imagination more than his wallet, and I think that's a good. And he probably knows that, I would imagine.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you saw this movie. It's like lesser known, but I didn't know it was James Wan. Dead Silence.
Oh yeah, about the little pup, the
fucking ventriloquist thing.
Yeah, ventriloquist dummy.
In like middle school, and I was like, "That's the coolest fucking concept ever! You can't scream where they rip your freaking tongue out and you die."
That actually is a fairly underrated movie. Actually,
I think it's pretty underrated.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. When I was this is going to show my age real bad. So, my first nightmare that I've ever had was from Beetlejuice.
No way.
Oh, I was little. Like, I was real little. And I had a dream that when the banister turns into like a snakehead thing? That's what I was dreaming about. And I was dreaming that it was coming around and getting like wrapped around me and taking me from my mom. I was little. I was like
crazy.
Yeah, like that whole movie as a whole is just silliness, right? But that part, for whatever reason, I watched it as a little bitty kid and it scared the shit out of me. And then after that, it was my mom said, "Don't watch Nightmare on Elm Street." So I went and watched Nightmare on Elm Street. And then she got really pissed off because I couldn't sleep for 2 days. And she's like, "No, this is why I don't want you watching that garbage." And I was real little when I watched that too. But Beetlejuice, I got a soft spot for Beetlejuice, and Nightmare is my jam. Love me some Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare.
But I'm more of a modern horror guy, to really be honest with you. I like either 80s like cult classics or like modern, just absolute garbage films. Like I want like the worst shot on video shit you can get. I don't want them to ever have ever acted before. Like I want the worst shit. Like I don't know what because the people that make it are only making it because they love to make it. There's nothing else behind
They
it.
love what they're doing.
And that's what I like about it. And so I can take a lot of nonsense to get just to watch people. Like I have a movie called Dude Bro Party Massacre 3, but there's not a 1 or a 2. How amazing is that?
Hilarious.
That's amazing. It blew my mind when I found out there was not a 1 or 2. I was like, oh no, this is the best movie of all time because of that. Like it's just so ridiculous. Like, but I like modern low budget stuff a lot. I really, that's probably my. I like a lot of Japanese and Korean stuff. I go deep in these weird subgenres and stuff.
That's so cool. I just watched the originals of The Ring and The Grudge.
Oh, nice. How'd you like them? Did you like them better than your remakes?
From like a filmmaking standpoint, yes. As from like a scare point, nothing's gonna stick with me than what I originally
saw. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Which I'm just like, darn. I should have watched those first.
The last movie that scared me. This is gonna make you laugh at me. The last movie that actually scared me was Paranormal Activity. Like, I have a very active imagination. So when I got home, that movie scared the shit out of me. I was just like, oh, why did I watch that by myself?
It was like Blair Witch 2.0, you know? It was like,
it was like Blair Witch on like steroids, man. Because they did it really well.
Awesome. I like the
end of that movie. I was like, what are we doing here, man? I don't like this. And I gotta try to go to sleep, dude. What am I doing?
Yeah. I was a big fan of those when they came out.
The sequel, I haven't seen the sequel, but maybe once. I need to rewatch that. I got the box set.
More than the first one.
Really? I'll go back and watch that one soon. We're doing
I don't know, but I need to rewatch it too.
I have do what?
Oh, I just remembered Marlon Wayans is in my movie, the parody of Paranormal Activity, which is a haunted house.
Oh, he's awesome.
It's just so funny. I was just imagining that movie now.
Those are so silly.
So
I like silly shit too. I have a weekly podcast with my two best friends, and we rotate like picking movies to watch. And so like naturally, mine's always the horror movie. Now they've definitely gotten into more horror stuff, because we're almost on episode 100, and it's a weekly show. We're really proud of that. It's been a long time, and if you go back and watch some of the early stuff, like it's so embarrassing. I don't even want people to watch. It's so bad. We didn't really know what we were doing. We were just having fun, just being stupid guys and talking, arguing all the time, and just being like, nah, nah. But this week, have you ever seen a movie called Bug?
No.
With Ashley Judd and Michael Shannon?
No.
You should go locate this movie. Oh wait, are you like a conspiracy theorist at all? Like, do you like that stuff? Is it like I'm gullible. Like I fall into traps. I'm like, wait, what happened? And I'm like, oh my god, it's so scary.
I never think they're interesting. I don't know which ones I actually like would believe, but I love reading them all.
I'm very gullible, but at the same time, if I figure it out quick, I'm just like, oh, okay, never mind. But for a minute, I'll be like, what happened? But like, there's a movie called Bug, and I don't know where it's at. All my shit's organized, but I can't really see it. It's too dark in here. I love this room. It's small, but it's so me. Like the walls are painted hot pink because that's my favorite color. Like it's all, cool. I have a little 7-year-old daughter, so hot pink just became my favorite color.
Oh, that's so funny. Pink is my favorite color too.
My walls are crazy. Oh, that's awesome. My kid would try to steal those if she was at your house.
Oh, for sure.
But this movie is not what you think, because I watched it thinking it was a monster movie because I like that kind of stuff.
Also, it's called Bug.
It is not about monsters. Bug. It's about like conspiracy theory stuff. Like it's wild. If you get a chance to watch it, it's got like a green cover, and it honestly looks like it might be about Mimic, that movie Mimic. It looks like it could possibly be in that vein. So I was like, oh, this could be cool. And then I watched it, and it was nothing like it at all, but it was terrifying. I was like, oh my god, this is so scary. Like, oh my goodness. Like if you put yourself in that situation, it's terrifying.
Okay. I'm gonna check it out.
I've had you on here a little while. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I did want to ask, how was it hanging around the Foo Fighters?
It was a very amazing experience. For sure. Awesome. I was filming BTS for my dad, because I don't want to spoil this for anybody who's watching, spoiler alert, but they had to start that process very early on my dad's and because, you know, Rami gets chainsawed in half, that's a full life body cast recreation of Rami. So
that
I
was
was
probably
already,
like the coolest part. That was insane.
that was my dad's always wanted to chainsaw two people
Wait,
in half.
your dad did that part.
Yeah. So that's also like the nepotism.
That's so badass.
I'm like,
that's so badass. That's so cool.
But I was already there because I was there with my dad. So it's, yeah. So my dad did the effects for that film.
That's so bad. Oh, I didn't. How did I miss that?
No,
I
that's
thought
okay.
you just got the. I just thought you got the job, and I was like, oh, that's badass.
Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome. That is
I was
so
already
cool.
doing the BTS for him for just documenting the process, because it was the way that they kind of came up with the story was Dave and one of the producers, Jim Rhoda, they wanted to do a horror movie. And then my dad had worked with Dave on the Run music video of Making All the Guys Old. And so they knew that they wanted to work with my dad again. And then there, what's, you know, your top 10 ways you wanted to like kill people in a movie, but never got the chance to. And so it was like I remember my dad just like drafting up this like kill list of ways that he wanted to do that. So on there was two people having sex and get chainsawed in half. So it was, because we've seen people get chainsawed in half, but maybe not two people through both bodies while they're fucking. So, which is,
I love this genre so much.
Yes. And so I was already documenting my dad's part of the movie, and then the producers realized, hey, there's somebody with a camera already doing this thing. And because the Foos put up their own money for it, it was produced independently outside of a studio. They were like, we don't have a whole lot of money for BTS, but would you want to like, because I also had talked about my film. I think what really like helped them trust me film it all at like 21 years old was that the short version of my doc had been bought and distributed, like I was published, and then I was still working on the longer format of the documentary, so they knew I had documentary filmmaking experience, which was great. So they were like, they asked if I'd be up for filming the making of it, and
you got a bright future ahead of you.
Oh, thank you.
Oh no, I can tell. Like I just, your resume already at such a young age is so, at least in my opinion, so badass. Like I'm super jealous of that, in like a good way. Like I'm not actually jealous.
Well,
I do. Like, that's so dope.
It does help that I was dealt a very lucky deck of cards of having a dad in the genre.
Hey, you gotta be sometimes. I actually, I look at that. I mean, my whole work ethic comes from my mom, and my dad was never around. I was dealt a lucky deck of cards in the same sense that, you know, I wouldn't be where I'm at if I didn't work this hard. And I only worked this hard because of my mom. So
yeah, that's kind of my dad's thing. It's like because I was like, they asked me to do the BTS, and like I don't know if I could take that. Like I don't know what I'm doing, and my dad's like, fake it till you make it, fucking lie. So I was like, sure I can. So that
your dad sounds awesome.
He's great. He's amazing. His story. He's just the coolest person in the entire world. But
that's amazing.
So it was like 2 years, literally the first day of filming. Rami's live cast was December 17th, 2019. And my last day of filming with them, the premiere, February 16th, 2022. So it's been this long journey of documentary. And I knew this was going to be the thing that was so cool and different and special. So I would come in on days that I wasn't getting paid. I just filmed everything.
I would have 1000% done that. Like I would have been like, hey, I didn't know I was gonna get paid for this. That's cool. Like, yeah, like sure, I'll take a couple bucks. Let me go. Like, I'm like, do I get a cool shirt with like my shit on it? Do I get a pass or some kind of something to put on my wall? I'm such a dork.
Yeah, I have like we had these passes. Once COVID hit, and because we were filming in March when COVID hit, so then we had to come back in COVID, and so you have when you work on a movie right now, like. You have zones. So if you're somebody that works closer to the actor, like hair and makeup, you have these badges that says that you've gotten tested more, this and that. You have to have certain PE.
That makes sense.
And so we had our like zone badges, and then they say Foo Fighters on them. And it's so awesome because I think our all our badges had numbers, and mine was 4377. And when you turn it upside down because of the font, it looks like hell.
Dude, that's awesome.
Fighters on it, and then it's like hell. It's cool. So it was just like an amazing once in a lifetime experience of just getting to be in the room with like less like a fly on the wall. Like I just remember this conversation of Dave doing a test makeup with my dad. This was before the movie was even filming, and it was him doing prosthetics. It was just all of us in the bathroom that they recorded part of their last album in, because they recorded their last album in the house that we shot in. So it was just like crazy. I was sitting in the bathtub because there was no room, watching my dad apply and filming, and then Taylor comes in, and he and Dave just start having this candid conversation about the album and the movie and this and that, and I was just like, that was my first moment of like, I can't believe I get to be here right now. This is so amazing.
Yeah, I might have been stuck just sitting there like, can you do something? I'm like, oh shit, sorry. I'm like,
yeah, it was so fun. And I don't know what's going to end up happening with it all, because, you know, the Foos did it independently, but some, you know, a thing bought it to distribute it so that it had a theater run and all that jazz. So it really depends on, you know, who can do something with it, and it needs to get paid to be edited. But I really hope that they do something with it one day, because it's just such an amazing story of how much, they had so much fun making it. Everybody did. It was like this one special magical movie. And, you know, the movie itself is campy and all that jazz. And, you know, as far as like horror goes, it's not, you know, my favorite horror movie, but just everybody gave so much of a shit about being there and knowing that this was such a fun thing. And so many people had the freedom to do what they wanted. And like, it was so fun.
That's amazing. That's awesome. I think that the unfortunate passing of Taylor might actually make that footage very necessary to be seen.
One day, yeah. And I'm so thankful that I came in all the time when I didn't need to, because there's so much of
I saw you had a photo of you and Taylor, right? That you put on Instagram? Yeah.
Yeah.
He seemed like a really nice dude. I've only seen him, but I've seen enough of him on DVDs and on live show stuff on TV and things. He seemed like a pretty cool guy. Did he ever? That's a weird question. You probably won't know the answer to it, but did he ever play drums in a band that was fronted by the guy from called Me First and the Gimme Gimmes? I swear he was in that band for a little while. No, I don't know. It's just, I'll have to look. I'll just look it up. It just now dawned on me that the guy that played drums for them looked exactly like him. So it's either him or somebody that looks just like him. But he seemed like a cool dude, and I just was, you know, anybody that's a substantial. So when I was in high school, the Foo Fighters came out. So I
loved it.
Even though it's not like my favorite band, I've got memories of everything that they've done up until maybe the last few years, because I'm a little different than I was back then. But like, I directly remember high school. As soon as I hear the word Foo Fighters, I'm like, oh yeah, I think right back to high school. Like, so, you know, that was a tough one, even for somebody that wasn't the biggest fan. But my best friend is a humongous fan. That was a wild day. I could feel the heaviness in the air. You know, it was a monumental loss. So
yeah.
But
Not easy.
So last couple of questions, I'll let you get out of here. What kind of music do you normally listen to? Do you have a certain? I always like to talk about music because half of what I do is music stuff. Do you have any kind of music that you like? Or I know some people just listen to whatever's on the radio. They don't care, but they love it. But that's what they like.
I used to be way more of just like movie oriented growing up. So I would watch, I would take a portable DVD player in the car instead of listening to music.
Sure. Hey, that's a good enough answer for me.
But I listen to like alt rock is like my jam.
Like grungy stuff, Nirvana-ish.
I love it. Yeah, I like Nirvana. They're great. I like the Foo Fighters. I listen to the Foo Fighters. I was a big Panic at the Disco fan.
Okay. So even more. I forget you're so much younger than me. Yeah. So you like, that era of stuff.
More. That's more the stuff that I like. Paramore.
Like My Chemical Romance at all?
Yeah, I like MCR.
So that's one band that I had to like get over the fact that I was too cool to like them, because I was like a manager at Hot Topic, like back in the day. Like, yeah, like
my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's bad. But I always liked them. Like, didn't tell my friends because I was into more hardcore band stuff, like Hatebreed type stuff. So I was like, I can't be liking this band. I'm gonna get the shit kicked out of me by my buddies, man. So I would like have it in my car, just only have the CD in there, nothing else, no artwork. I was like, I don't want my buddies finding out about this.
They can't know.
So they're so good though.
Yeah.
But I grew up on like '90s punk rock stuff. You know, I'm 40, so like you ever heard of Rancid?
Yes.
That's my favorite band. That's like my favorite band. And I've talked to them a few times, like not on like a video or anything, but like over the phone, talked to them once or twice, which was cool. Yeah, I just started getting into like cassette tapes recently because that's what I did when I was a kid. I made cassettes.
Right.
And so I started doing like TikTok videos and or just ordered some like actual like 90s rancid stuff, and I'm so excited to get it.
That's so fun.
Yeah. I'm a giant nerd, but man, it's been awesome talking to you. I really, really appreciate all your time that you gave up today.
Of course.
Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Anything that you want to, anybody that you want to shout out or anything that we need attention given to?
I don't know.
Hey, more often than not, that's the answer I get. I just like to offer the opportunity, so it's nothing uncommon.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just didn't know if maybe you had a friend that was doing something that you wanted to let the world know.
Oh, I don't know. I've been so engulfed in my own stuff. I'm a horrible friend.
Me too. No, it's all right. I do the same thing. I just wanted to ask.
I guess just appreciation for anybody who's been, if somebody's listening to this from TikTok, because I've been posting my film journey on there and it's been so crazy. But so anybody who's still following along and is supporting and is going to go see the film in festivals, I'm going to go it'll be playing along the US.
Is it doing Austin, South by Southwest?
South by Southwest already happened this year. So
that's what I thought. Okay, I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember. I don't know the dates of that stuff. It just kind of one jumbled mess.
No, it's okay. And that's kind of a hard one to get into.
It's humongous.
It's a humongous, yes.
I remember when it was little. Like, I remember when it was nothing.
I know.
Like a few bands played and there was a couple movies shown and that was it.
It's nuts. But also when you do submit to film festivals, it matters which one you're getting into first. Like, festivals care if you're their world premiere, their US premiere, their UK premiere.
Oh, I guess that would matter, huh?
It does matter. So it's actually better that I didn't submit to the movie.
Yeah, because then you could get into one that you really want to get into because they're like, oh, we're the first people to show your movie.
Yeah,
we'll take it.
Started at South by Southwest, like you can't go much higher, like
right. Yeah, Southwest one's big. It's real big.
Yeah, so it's been a learning journey of that. So
dude, I've learned a bunch today. This is awesome.
Yeah,
I love
it already have played at so many throughout this year that I don't think it's beneficial at the point if we haven't found a buyer by then to play at South by Southwest, like to submit. So yeah, but that's another side tangent of learning about all of that because I had no idea.
I'm sure it was crazy.
Yeah, I just I'm very appreciative of anybody who wants to watch it. I'm deeply care about what people will say about it, but we'll cross that bridge.
We all do.
As an artist,
feel that way. Yeah. So
I'm just appreciative of everybody who gave their time for me.
That's amazing. Well, I know quite a few people that will watch this video. So first and foremost, I have a notoriously bad memory. I am nicknamed Memento. My friends call me Memento. Have you seen Memento?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not cool, man. That they call me Memento. I get it though. So one of you guys that sees this, you're gonna have to remind me. Make sure that we're gonna get all your TikTok link and your Instagram, and we'll put it in the description. If I need to link it, pin it at the top of the comments, I'll do that too. Anybody's watching this, man, go check her stuff out. Follow her on social media, on Instagram, TikTok, and I will keep up with what you're doing. And maybe whenever it does eventually get to see the world, or the world gets to see it, maybe we can talk again and just tell me about that experience because I'm sure it's going to be a pretty incredible journey.
I hope, hopefully one day you see it on Hulu or some shit. That'd be crazy. But I would love to talk about it.
It'll get there. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. I so appreciate it. It was lovely meeting you. You're very sweet. Yeah, have an awesome day. Good luck with everything. And if there's anything that I could ever help with, don't hesitate to reach out, okay?
Thank you. It's been so much fun talking to you.
Hell yeah, man. Have a good day, okay?
You too.
All right. Thanks. Bye.